I'm Ellis Martin. Join me now for a conversation with Claudia Tornquist, President and CEO of Kodiak Copper Corp, trading as KDK on the TSX Venture Exchange and in the U.S. on the OTCQB as KDKCF. Kodiak Copper is focused on the discovery of copper for a low-carbon future by sustainably and responsibly exploring its copper porphyry projects in Canada and the U.S. Kodiak Copper was founded by Chairman Chris Taylor, the founder and CEO of Great Bear Resources, which was acquired by Kinross Gold in 2022 for $1.8 billion. The company is led by Ms. Tornquist, former GM of Rio Tinto, current director of American Lithium, and a member of the Discovery Group. The management team has shown the ability to raise capital while protecting a tight share structure and attracting strategic investors such as Teck Metals. The company's most advanced asset is the 100% owned MPD copper gold porphyry project in the prolific Quesnel Trough in southern British Columbia, Canada, where the company made a discovery of high-grade mineralization in 2020 at the Gate Zone, which has since been expanded to considerable size. MPD is roughly all the hallmarks of a district-scale, multi-centered porphyry system. Claudia, welcome back to the program. Great to see you today.
Thanks for having me, Alice.
What have you been doing the last few weeks?
Well, it's a busy time. We are just wrapping up our drill program, and the drill's still turning, but coming to the end of it, have achieved everything we want. Just had news out as well. So yeah, busy time.
0.45% copper at the man zone. Did I read that correctly?
Yes, that's correct. That's the second zone or second target from which we have results this year. And the man zone is just like Gate or West targets we announced results earlier in the year, is a zone where there was already historic drilling. So we had already gold and copper near surface from previous operators, and we were successful with our first two holes there and extended the mineralization and actually down to almost a kilometer. I think that's the deepest mineralization we have intercepted on the property. The deepest hole was down to 995 meters and ended in mineralization.
Well, that sounds very, very significant. And my question to you is, what are you going to do next? You've compiled all this information over the year. What's the next step? Is there a new resource estimate?
Well, this year, we are drilling 5 targets. From 2, we have results already, so 3 more to come. And good question about resource definition. That's a question quite a few investors ask. When you want to do a resource, that's when you know the scope and the scale of your project. And in our case, we still have numerous targets that we haven't drilled yet. Also targets that have already previously drilled, so we know already that there is shallow mineralization, but they have never been tested deeper. So we still have quite a few targets that we want to test. And at this stage, we don't know whether we have already the best targets, the highest grade ones, the biggest, whether the ones where we found mineralization already are actually the best on the property. Maybe not. For sure, we don't know how big and what scale MPD really has. And so we will keep testing further targets before we narrow down again on a resource.
There's no good point in putting out a resource estimate if you have a lot of work yet to do. Why not just wait, right? No matter what the market wants.
The earlier you put out a resource, by definition, the smaller it will be. And in our situation, where there is just still a lot of potential for discovery, it wouldn't be wise. We believe that the way we maximize value for our shareholders is by drilling out those targets and really demonstrating how big a system MPD is.
Perfect. What kind of questions are you getting from the shareholders you've been speaking to right now? Because the market hasn't been exactly friendly toward copper stocks, copper equities during the last few months. I'm a shareholder, I'm a patient shareholder, but it's a question I think that many of us would ask. So I'm asking it on behalf of all the shareholders.
Well, at this point in the year, people ask about results, of course. We had a big drill program. In fact, we are still drilling, just getting to the end of it, 20,000 meters. And so far, we've only had results from 2 targets out of 5. And we've had so far now 11 holes and have drilled over 30. So the vast majority of results yet to come. I'm quite confident that we'll have another batch of results this year, and then the rest will come in the new year.
Well, I think with about over 60 million shares outstanding and a share price of, I think today, 59 cents Canadian, what an opportunity potentially. What an opportunity potentially. Notice I said potentially. There's no guarantees whatsoever in this business, but I bought the stock at about $1.10, and I was enthused to do so.
Very difficult and very weak market, and our share price is beaten down like everybody else's. I just spoke to an investment banker who's been in the business for decades and who told me he hasn't seen such a weak market ever. So yeah, it's a down cycle and share prices are depressed, but we're in a good place in that we still have cash available and are not with the back to the wall and have to finance. So that's very important. And of course, we have lots of results coming. So we just have to be patient, keep up the good work, and the market will eventually turn and eventually recognize good results.
Absolutely, Claudia. And I assume your office is always available for a comment if an investor wants to get in touch with you, right?
Of course, we welcome questions and for people to get in touch.
Perfect. Well, it's always a pleasure to speak with you, Claudia. I look forward to our next chat. Thank you so much for joining me today on the program.
Thank you, Ellis.
I've been speaking with Claudia Tornquist, President and CEO of Kodiak Copper Corp, trading as KDK on the TSX Venture Exchange and in the U.S. on the OTCQB as KDKCF. Go to the company's website now, KodiakCopperCorp.com. I'm Ellis Martin.
Would you like to be one of the first to see who we are following? Subscribe to our audio newsletter. It's free. EllisMartinReport.com.